They missed it. It's talking about the sin of the Pharisees. So Leviticus chapter 23. Start in verse 1. The Lord spoke again to Moses, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel and say to them, the sons of Israel, are we grafted into Israel?
Yes.
Yes, we are. So, would this apply to us?
Yes.
Yes, it would. Speak to the sons of Israel. And by the way, even though the New Testament, you can catch it where it says it a couple times, and this one's for you, Arwen, these are not the feast of the Jews. Okay? These are not the feast of the Jews. They are the feasts of Yahweh. They are the feasts of God the Father. They're His feasts. Okay? And that was the first thing that struck me when I began to study this years ago, when the Father put in my heart to study these things. I came across them in the Strong's Concordance, and it said Jewish feasts. I was like, oh, well, let's check these out. And I began to read Leviticus 23, and the first thing that hit me in the face was, these are not Jewish feasts. These are the feasts of the Lord. These are God's feasts.
Amen.
So, these are the Lord's feasts. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 1. The Lord spoke again to Moses, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel and say to them, the Lord's appointed times, or the Lord's feasts, the feasts of the Lord, which you shall proclaim as holy convocations. My appointed times are these, or my feasts are these. The Hebrew word there is moedim. And it's really, I like the word appointed time, because it's the Father's time that He has appointed for you to meet with Him and obey His instructions that He's given for those days. It's an appointment. It's an appointment that the Father makes, a place and time. The meeting place of the Lord is not a building. It's a place and time. Just like Sabbath, Shabbat. It's a place and time. It's the seventh day of the week. That's His meeting place with us right there. That's it. Can He meet with us any other day of the week? Absolutely. But if He tells us, meet with me on this day, and we choose to ignore that, are we at fault? Absolutely, we are at fault. I like to think of it like this. If my dad told me, meet me at the car dealership on Wednesday, I'm going to buy you a new car. And I say, okay, sounds good. And I show up on Thursday. Is he going to be sitting there waiting for me?
Nope.
Probably not.
You missed it.
And if I call him up and be like, okay, I'm here, he's going to be like, oh, that's nice. Buy yourself a car. Why? Because I missed the appointment. And that's what these feasts are. They're appointments. They're His appointments that He's made a place and time for us to meet with Him. Isn't that awesome that the Father has made a room on His calendar for a time for you to meet with Him? Every week, it's called Sabbath. Every month, it's called New Moon. Every year, their annual feasts. You have Passover, unleavened bread, first fruits, Shavuot, Yom Teruah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot. They're all appointments that He made for us to meet with Him. Appointed times, Moedim, the feast of the Lord. And He says in verse 2 that they are holy convocations. A holy convocation, it is a commanded assembly. It's an assembly. We're supposed to come together and assemble together. Can you assemble together on Sunday? Absolutely. Can you assemble together on Monday? Absolutely. But the day He commanded us to assemble together are on these feasts. So if we miss the day that He commanded us to meet together and assemble together, are we in the wrong? Absolutely we are. And without excuse. In verse 3, He says, for 6 days work may be done, but on the seventh day there is a Sabbath of complete rest, a holy convocation. So it's a commanded assembly on the seventh day. You shall not do any work. It is a Sabbath to the Lord in all your dwellings. These are the appointed times of the Lord, the feasts of the Lord, holy convocations which you shall proclaim at the times appointed for them. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, at evening, is the Lord's Passover. Then on the 15th day of the same month, there is the feast of unleavened bread to the Lord. For 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. So, not only are you supposed to clean your house out of leaven and the leavened bread, but you need to make sure that you have unleavened bread so that you can eat it. Because he says that what are you supposed to do? For 7 days you're supposed to eat unleavened bread. Yummy. Call it matzah. Okay? Matzah. It's bread without leaven. In verse 7 it says, on the first day you shall have a holy convocation and shall not do any laborious work. On the first day of what? The first day of unleavened bread. So the first day of unleavened bread, it is actually a holy convocation, a commanded assembly. Not supposed to do any laborious work. In verse 8, but for 7 days you shall present an offering by fire to the Lord. On the 7th day is a holy convocation, and you shall not do any laborious work.